Welcome back. Today we are in the ancient city of Rome. We are going to be doing a walking tour to all of the most iconic sites that you cannot miss when you are in this amazing city. We are up really early this morning to get a head start on all of the crowds. We got to the Trevi Fountain at 6:30. There were already big crowds gathered to get their pictures and enjoy the beautiful fountain.
The Trevi Fountain is one of the oldest water sources here in ancient Rome. What you see today was not built until about the 1700s, but people throw coins over their shoulders into the fountain for good luck, and it's estimated that every day there's 3,000 euros worth of coins thrown into the fountain, and then every now and again those coins are cleaned up and donated to charity.
Next, we are walking about 10 minutes over to the Spanish Steps as our next stop today in our walking tour around Rome. So next we are at the Spanish Steps, which is about 135 steps that are Baroque style, built in 1725. They are super picturesque. They've been featured in lots of films, which is why they are so famous to stop by and check out. There's a French church at the top of the step, another amazing example of the architecture here in the Eternal City, and a nice just quick stop on your walk. According to Google, you can apparently get a 400 euro fine for sitting on the steps. I've seen a lot of people sitting on the steps, so I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe not worth risking it. Just walking around these beautiful streets while they're still pretty empty is so beautiful. All the architecture here is stunning. I could just stop and take pictures all day, but first we're headed to a cafe that's open so that we can get caffeinated before the main event today, which is of course the Colosseum. So we stopped and got a little coffee. This was 4 euros and it's teensy. And then we also picked up a little pastry as we're walking. We also just passed by a church that has Michelangelo's Moses. So right after we finish this, we're gonna try to pop in there, see if we can see that on our way to the Colosseum, which is right behind me.
I can just barely see parts of the Colosseum peeping through like the buildings and the trees. It really looks pretty cool. We just got done watching the movie Gladiator, which obviously features gladiators and the Colosseum, just to like prep us, get us ready for actually being here in Rome and checking out the Colosseum.
So we just stopped by the church that has Michelangelo's carving of Moses. It's absolutely stunning. They finished renovating it in 2019, fully restoring it, so now it's on display. And like I said, it's only like a 5-minute walk from the Colosseum, and I don't think a lot of people know about it. It's also free to visit.
So the Michelangelo statue of Moses did like show horns on Moses, and I thought that was really weird, so of course I had to like check and try and figure out why. And apparently it has to do with a translation issue from the Latin text of Exodus. So we usually translate it to like Moses came down from the mountain with his face shining. However, in Latin that word can also be translated to horns. So during the medieval ages it was really popular to show Moses with horns just because of that translation issue.
Michelangelo carved it for Pope Julius II for his tomb and carved it sometime in the first part of the 1500s. Like I said, less than a 5-minute walk from the Colosseum, so we are already here.
I'm not gonna lie, and this probably makes me sound like a brat, but it's kind of smaller than I thought it would be. Like, it always seems so grand in the pictures, and it actually seems kind of small.
So I completely reject that narrative. I think it does look big and grand and absolutely beautiful.
It'll probably look big once we get in there, I guess. And the outside does look very, like, I don't even know how they built this thing. Like, I don't know how you built this thing today. So we were like one of the first 5 people to be let into this Colosseum this morning, and it's like still completely dead. I see one group has made it in, but other than that, like this entire thing is empty right now. I don't think it's gonna stay like that for very long, but this is now like the second major ancient attraction that we've been like one of the first people in. We're also the first people to get into the Acropolis in Greece, and now we're here, one of the first people in to the Colosseum. Also, I take it back. This is much bigger than it looked on the outside.
The line to buy tickets was so long, so make sure to buy your tickets in advance online. It'll save you so much time. They were also only letting people in 15 minutes prior to their scheduled time on their ticket because they only allow 3,000 people in the Colosseum at one time, which is still a lot of people throughout the day.
And here we were worried we were gonna have to be fighting crowds of tourists all summer long. Instead, we're just in the Roman Colosseum all by ourselves. Literally can just like roam around, have no one even by us right now. This is wild.
So the Colosseum was actually built in 70 AD, and that's the same year that in Jerusalem, the Romans destroyed the temple that sits on top of the Temple Mount, and they used the spoils from destroying that temple to fund the building project here in Rome for the Colosseum. The build here took about 10 years, so it started in 70 AD and it ended in about 80 AD is when they finished this project, mostly out of limestone. Despite there being some earthquakes throughout the years, a lot of it is still standing, which is pretty incredible to see, and they are constantly working on renovating it, restoring it, and keeping it up to date so that people can walk through and see it today. So we had a little disagreement about how many people could fit in the Colosseum. Jordan thought no more than 10,000, so we Google checked it quick, and 50,000 people at one time could be in this stadium, which is as big as sports stadiums are nowadays. Because what did you say, 40,000 would be a stadium?
40,000 would be like a small stadium. There's obviously much bigger ones, but 40,000, yeah, for a smaller one. So I was very wrong, very, very wrong.
So that's mind-blowing that 50,000 people could be here at one time. That's pretty crazy, especially for the ancient world.
Kind of funny because we are now like walking backwards through the Colosseum, like back through the museum parts of the Colosseum, because like right once we got here, we just rushed onto the amphitheater. That way we could have that to ourselves, and now it is just super crowded in this museum part. So we have left the Colosseum now. We had a quick sandwich, and now we're heading to the Roman Forum and the Palatine Hill.
So one really nice thing about Rome is that they have free water that's safe to drink everywhere, and it's nice and cold. So they also have people everywhere trying to sell you cold water, but if you look around, you can usually just find a spot to help yourself for free.
So we've now made it into the Roman Forum and the Palatine Hill. It's massive, so I think we're gonna spend the next hour or two just walking around using an audio guide to learn a little bit more about the history of this place.
The Roman Forum was the political, religious, and social center of ancient Rome. It served as a marketplace and meeting place for various activities, including elections, speeches, and public ceremonies. After we made our way through the Roman Forum, listening to our audio guide and looking at all the ancient ruins, we continued over to the Palatine Hill. The Palatine Hill is one of 7 hills of Rome and located adjacent to the Roman Forum. It is the most central of the 7 hills and consists of one of the oldest parts of the city. According to Roman mythology, the Palatine Hill is the place where Romulus, the legendary founder of Rome, established the city in 753 BC.
So we just got done spending like the last 2 hours here in the Roman Forum and the Palatine Hill. Honestly, I think we could spend like all afternoon here because there's just so much to see. However, we do have tickets to the Mamertime prison at 1 p.m. so we're gonna head over there right now.
The Mamertime Museum is an ancient prison located beneath the Church of St. John of the Carpenters. According to legend, it is the place where the apostles Paul and Peter were imprisoned before they were martyred. The prison consists of 2 underground chambers, one on top of the other. The lower chamber is a small, cramped space with low ceilings and was used to hold prominent prisoners. Our ticket included an iPad that acted as a tour guide for us. This was quite nice as the information throughout the museum and prison was quite limited without the addition of the iPad tour. Only a few minutes walk away from the Mamertime Museum is the Capitoline Square near the Roman Forum, which was designed by the renowned Italian artist Michelangelo in the 16th century. And just around the corner from the square is both the Basilica di Santa Maria and the monument to Victor Emmanuel II. The Basilica di Santa Maria in Rome is one of the 4 major papal basilicas in Rome. So next we are at the Victor Emmanuel II National Monument, which is a monument built for the first king of the unified Italy. It's absolutely beautiful. It took about 50 years to build, and if you go to the back side of the monument, there is actually an elevator that takes you up to the very top that gives you such a gorgeous view of Rome. It is 18 euros each, but I totally think it's worth it. it, and it's a perfect thing to add on your walking tour of Rome because you really get a bird's eye view of the whole city. We've walked so much today that now it's time for some gelato because we are tired and very hungry.
Well, we just found some amazing gelato. However, unfortunately, it is melting super quick. So we spent about the last 12 hours walking all around the city, and honestly, that's not nearly enough time. I'm pretty sure you could spend an entire day just checking out the Colosseum, the Roman Forum, the Palatine Hill, and then you could spend another whole day just checking out all the churches in the city. Honestly, there is so much to see. However, luckily, this is only day 1 of 3 days that we have to spend here in Rome.
It's several hours later, and long story short, we got caught up in the nationwide train strike today. So that was fun. After a couple canceled trains, including sitting on a train and then getting kicked off of it to transfer to a different one, we are finally within walking distance of our Airbnb for the night.
All in all, we've walked over 12 miles today. We've been out and about in the city for like 13 or 14 hours. So it's been a very, very long day, and we are just completely tired after all the walking and all the standing today.
However, it was an amazing day in Rome, and we really did get to see so much of the city. It was pretty incredible. And we're getting up early tomorrow morning to head back into Rome for another full day of seeing the city. This time we will be touring the Vatican City. So we are looking forward to that, but we're gonna go get some rest so we have energy to go do that tomorrow. We hope you enjoyed this video of a day in Rome, sightseeing the most classic tourist destinations. Thank you so much for watching this video. It means the world to us, and we will see you in the next one.